Good morning, boys and girls. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone's doing well, hanging in there. I just finished a little workout. I'm up at the track here, getting a little run in, trying to stay healthy. A few other people up here joining me, and been doing some instructional videos on sports recently. I thought I'd take you guys around the track. Some of you guys have been to a track maybe at Newark High School or Glasgow High School, or even Christiana High School. Some of you have older brothers or sisters that might run in middle school or high school. And there's a lot of different markings on the track. There's a lot of different colors of paint on the track to indicate different things. I'm going to take you guys around today and give you a little tour of the track. So next time you're at one, you know what's actually happening. And I've been a track coach for many, many years, really my whole career. And it's a very familiar place for me, so it's my honor and privilege to show you guys around today. So boys and girls, what we have here is we have an oval shaped track, and we have a 400-meter surface. Now I always love to ask this question: if a meter is 3 inches, then 1 yard, how long is a meter? If a meter is 3 inches longer than 1 yard, how long is a meter? If you said 39 inches, you were correct, because a yard is 3 feet. 12 times 3, there's 12 inches in 1 yard, or excuse me, in 1 foot. 3 times 12 would be 36 inches. And then we add 3 more inches and we get 39 inches. So a meter is 39 inches, actually about 39.25 inches, but we won't get too technical. And this track all the way around in the big circle here, or a big oval, is 400 meters. That means 4 times around is approximately 1 mile. It's actually about 31 feet short of a mile, but we call it the metric mile because we're using a metric system measured in meters. Now you see on this particular track here, there's 6 different lanes. We see lane 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now if you notice, all of the start lines are in different places here. Excuse my hand, sorry about that. And the reason that is because if you're over here in lane 6, in the outside lane, you are running farther around the turns. So if we turn around here, we can see that we are running farther around the turn than if you are over here in lane 1. And using good track etiquette, I have to kind of pay attention to people here, make sure they're not running into me. So you can see lane 1 is a narrow turn. And if we come all the way out here into lane 6, it's a much wider turn. So the question is, does lane 1 here, now I'm not at the official start line for most races, I'm at the, you can see here, this is a good track, you can still read the print, it says start of the 300-meter hurdles. So I am actually 100 meters past the start line, but this is my vantage point from lane 1. Why does lane 2 get to start in front of me? Why does lane 3 get to start in front of lane 2? And then you can see lanes 4, 5, and 6 all get to start even farther ahead. Why is that? Does lane 6 get a head start? If so, that would be a huge advantage for somebody in lane 6. Well, no, that's what we call in track and field a staggered start. Lane 6 does not have an advantage over our friend back here in lane 1. It simply means that they are running farther around the turn. So the people that make the tracks have done complicated measurements, and each start lane is about 6 meters apart, or about 19 feet apart or so. Over at the start line over here where most races start. Now over here at the 300-meter hurdles, it's actually about 4 meters apart, which is about 12 feet difference. So if I'm out here in lane 6 because I have to start farther around the turn, I'm going to be running, once we get way up there ahead of us, I'm going to be running farther around that turn. So I get to start all the way up here, and lane 1 starts just about 24 meters or so behind me. So what does that mean? Okay, what that means is by the time we go all the way up around that bend and all the way back down and end up at the finish line directly across from us, for this particular race, every race, most races start directly across from us, but some races start at the turn up ahead of us. Some races start at the turn diagonally across from us, and some races start right where we are right here on this corner. So there's a different race for every corner of the track, but most of your races that, for those of you that are in the older grades, you'll understand this, most of the races that are multiples of 400, that means 400, 800, 1600, 3200, they all start across from us. So, does lane 1 run more than lane 6? No, everybody runs the same distance. It's just because if you're on the inside track, you run a shorter distance around these turns. So if you look, boys and girls, you see a bunch of arrows here. You say, what are all these arrows? Or we could call them triangles. I'm going to take lane 4 here. These are our relay arrows. So you all know what a relay race is. This little arrow is the area that I have to be in front of. So if I were to stand right here, that's legal, okay? As long as I start in front of this arrow, I'm okay. So I have to start in front of this arrow, and this is what's called the acceleration zone in a 4x100 relay. Now, what does 4x100 mean? 4x100 means that 4 people run 100 meters. So 100 meters would be running from one corner to the next corner of the track. Okay, so from this corner across from us to this corner where we are right now is 100 meters. There's 4 100-meter segments on a track. So I know this is a lot of math, but it's good for you. You guys probably need some math right now. So I can use this first area, which is a 10-meter segment, which is about 33 feet, to run and build up my speed. Now this arrow right here starts the zone, which we call the exchange zone. And you see up ahead of us, in front of the number 4 there's another arrow. That arrow is facing us. This arrow is facing the direction that we're running. The baton has to be in front of this arrow. Now I don't necessarily have to be in front of this arrow, but I have to receive the baton, which is the round stick-like figure that track athletes pass to one another. I have to receive the baton inside of both of these arrows. Inside of this arrow and inside of this arrow. So I could, theoretically, be all the way up here until my teammate hands me the baton. And there's different strategies that different team uses for where they want to receive the baton. But I could be all the way up here. I could actually be standing beyond the arrow as long as my hand is on this side of the arrow. I'm good to go. As long as my hand's on this side. If my hand's over here when I receive the baton, then that is called a disqualification because I'm out of the exchange zone. Okay? Let's go back here. Let's take a look at a couple other things. So that's the relay zone. Okay. This little dotted blue line here, this is what we call a brake line. And you can see this track's been freshly painted, so everything's easy to read. And when runners start a race over there at the start line for races that are multiples of 400, sometimes they will do 2 different groups. One group will start in lane 4, one group will start in lane 1. And everybody that's in lane 4, once they get to this blue line here, they will cut into lane 1. The group that started on the inside over here will cut into lane 1 as soon as the gun goes off. So that's what this line is right here. You can see it stretches across the track a little bit here. Okay, now what is this material that we see down here? Okay, this material is it's like a rubber surface right here. Let me see if I can get you a good picture here. Okay, it's like a rubber surface. You can see that there's tiny little pieces of rubber that they've kind of molded together, almost like melted together. And underneath there is blacktop, just like would be on the roads, but there's anywhere from about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. So sometimes on certain tracks it's a little bit thicker if it's a little bit softer of a track. And they put that down so the surface is a perfect surface, and it's actually a little bit bouncy, which is faster than running on any other surface, especially than running on grass. Or in the old days, probably when your grandparents were running track in high school, they used to run on something called cinder, which is basically crushed stone. And that was not a very fast surface at all compared to these types of rubberized or polyurethane tracks that we have now. Now, if you look at this, this is a hurdle mark, okay, in the 300 hurdles. This would be your first hurdle, and the hurdle would sit directly over these white lines. So we're in lane 5 here. You would start down there at your start line. You'd come all the way up to here. This is a 45-meter distance. And you would clear your first hurdle right here. The rest of the hurdles are 35 meters apart, not 45 meters apart. And most people take anywhere from, most high school kids take about 15 steps or so to clear those hurdles. Some professionals take as little as 13 steps between the hurdles. You say, Mr. Paca, how high are the hurdles? For high school girls, the 300 hurdles are 30 inches high, which is the lowest possible setting. For high school boys, here's our next hurdle space. That'd be hurdle number 2. For high school boys, those hurdles are 36 inches high, which is 3 feet high. And then, of course, you have the high hurdles, which I'll show you in a moment, which are for boys only 110 meters long, and for girls, that race is 100 meters long. For the young ladies, those hurdles are 33 inches high, and for the young men, those hurdles are 39 inches high. And in college, they go up all the way to 42 inches high, which is 3.5 feet. That's pretty high. Now, we're over here at the 200-meter start, and we finished diagonally across from us. You can see that our lanes are still staggered. However, the stagger is getting smaller. The farther we go around the track, the smaller the stagger gets. So this would be the start of the 200. And we have some different color arrows here. And that's a very complicated scenario, which we're not going to get into. But maybe if you have an older brother or sister that's watching this video, they may know what those different colors symbolize. That is if you do a 4x200 relay in your lane the entire time. The first exchange is in between these red arrows, not in between the yellow arrows. Okay, and then we come up here, we have another hurdle. We just passed one a little while ago. This would be the 4th hurdle. This is the 250-meter mark on the track, so we only have 150 meters to go. Right? Come on, guys, you mathematicians. 250 plus 150 is 400. All right? So we're up here. You can see now on these yellow arrows for our last exchange in the 4x100. This is where we hand off to the last runner, who was called the anchor. The anchor is the last runner and usually the fastest runner on the team. You can see how the stagger is very close together, because at this point, everybody is through most of the last turn, and this guy that's all the way out here on the outside is not running much more of the turn than the person that's on the inside. Okay, and you see we have a blue start line here And as we walk over and look what's painted on the track, it's going to say that this is the start of the 110-meter hurdles. And it is. Okay, so this is a straightaway. Look at this blue line. It is not staggered. Everybody starts on the same plane here. Why is that? That's because at this point on the track, there's no longer any turns. Now, if you look straight ahead of us, you see something that looks confusing. It looks like a road that's going every which direction. If I'm in lane 4 here, I need to follow those dashed lines, not the curved lines. What we see a lot of little kids, they'll start their race and they'll get to here and they'll turn this way. But actually you're supposed to follow these dashed lines and continue straight ahead. Okay? This yellow line is the start of the 100-meter dash, which oftentimes determines what's called the fastest person in the world. And also the women's 100-meter hurdles. The girls run 10 meters less than the boys do, than the guys do. Okay, this is the start of the 100-meter dash. And again, we follow those dash lines. Over on this side of the track, we have blue hurdle marks. Now all the way over here where we started, we were following white hurdle marks, but now we have blue. Remember, which start line is blue? The 110-meter hurdle start line back there is blue. Our yellow line here is for the 100 hurdles and the 100 dash. So as we get up to here, we see that there are blue dashes and yellow hurdle dashes. So the yellow would be for the girls, the blue would be for the boys, and the hurdles would sit right over that. You can look up ahead and see the next set of dashes. The blue dashes are 8.5 yards apart. The yellow dashes are 8 yards apart. So half a yard less, which would be 18 inches less for the girls between hurdles. All good hurdlers, and you can see there's one of the last 300-meter dash hurdles marks. That would be hurdle number 6. There's one more. All good hurdlers take only 3 steps between hurdles. Only 3 steps. Pretty amazing. A good hurdler could even take off as far as 7 or 8 feet away from the hurdle. This is our pole vault. We haven't showed you any of the field events yet, but this is our pole vault marker. And you may have seen runners come down what's called the runway here, and they stick a pole into that little box right here, and they vault themselves over the bar, which rests on these poles here. And this mat right here, obviously track is not happening because of the quarantine, but this mat usually rests right here and they land on that mat. Okay, and professional pole vaulters can go as high as 18 or 19 feet. Some high school boys can get as high as 15 feet or so. And straight ahead of us would be the finish line. Every race in track and field finishes at this line. Not every race starts here, but every race finishes here. Down at the finish line here. You can see over here on our right is the long jump pit. And that long jump pit has different takeoff boards. One of them is for the triple jump. All the way back here, this first board is used for the triple jump, which is a series of hops and finally a jump at the end, a hop, skip, and a jump. And then you have your 8-foot board and your 12-foot board, the last 2 boards for the long jump pit. And you've probably all seen athletes take off and jump into the sand. The world record for the long jump is 29 feet. Can you imagine being able to jump 29 feet into the sand? Pretty amazing. Guy named Mike Powell did that. And the record for the triple jump, I believe, is somewhere around 56 or 57 feet. I'd have to look that up, but I believe it's somewhere around there. And then, boys and girls, this is our common finish line that we have here. This is the finish line for every race in track and field. And also the start for a lot of races. And this is where you get really happy because your race is done. So I hope you enjoyed that little tour of the track, and I hope this finds you well. Hope everyone's having a good time. Hope you guys are out there getting your exercise. I want you to stop this video when I'm finished and do your exercises. Okay, take some time and go through all of your exercises that we normally do in class. And we're not going to make it that easy of a day, even though it's been a little bit easier than our previous videos. Tell your friends we're doing these videos, and let everybody know that you can learn a lot by doing these videos. And you can get some good exercise on many of these videos. If you want, go back and watch one of the other videos that was involved more exercise, and start your day off right. All right, I miss you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Join us tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.